Hello my friends, welcome to the Electric Viking. I first reported on a very interesting car coming out from BYD called the Yuan Plus. The Yuan Plus is a mid-sized crossover SUV which BYD are bringing to Australia, or more officially Nextport, the Australian distributor, are bringing into Australia, and it will go on sale now. The official sale date in Australia is April 2022. So around about 7 months from now. Now, what I find most interesting is the price. There's a little bit of speculation around the price, but I believe I know what the price will be based on doing a fair bit of research on the sale price in China, on the comments from the Nextport CEO in Australia, and on a few other things. Now, for you Kiwi fans, well, hopefully they'll be selling the Yuan Plus in New Zealand as well, because they'd be crazy not to. Right now, the New Zealand government is giving $8,500 subsidies to electric car buyers. $8,500. And it's very easy to qualify. In fact, everyone qualifies. This is not some sort of tricky scenario where you have to apply. You basically get instant cash back when you buy an EV over there. So it makes sense, right? Now, obviously, Nextport have an affiliation in the UK with BYD. I believe they'll also sell the Yuan Plus in the UK. And remember, BYD are now selling not only electric vehicles, including buses, in Europe, but they're also selling their large SUV, the Tang, over in Europe. So it seems likely that they'll also sell the Yuan Plus in Europe. Now, I think this car is going to completely shake up the Australian car market. In fact, I don't think it's going to shake up the Australian car market. I know it is going to shake up the Australian car market. There is no doubt it will. But beyond that, this car and the other cars coming from BYD, including the Dolphin, will completely transform the automotive landscape globally, in my opinion, within the next few years. Now, the key issue here for BYD is not the vehicles. The vehicles that they have clearly are impressive. The prices that they can sell them for are even more impressive. The key here is being able to supply enough cars. That will be the key for BYD. Now, the CEO here in Australia has said that the car will come in at an amazing price point with new standards in battery safety and warranty. And he's just said that within the last 48 hours, I believe. Now, the company is gearing up to make the Chinese-made electric crossover available for order in October via its subsidiary Nextport, which has the BYD E6 MPV on sale. You can buy one right now for 40,000 Australian dollars, so around about 30,000 US dollars. And they also have an electric commercial van on sale right now, which costs 35,000 Australian dollars, or around about 27,000 US dollars. Those vehicles, though, are both available in limited numbers. One of the fans of the channel has already contacted me, offering me to go on a road trip with him. He's bought an E6 from BYD, which comes with a 70 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's quite a large I would say it's a large sized SUV, kind of mid to large, and incredible bargain for 40,000 Australian dollars. So when our borders open up again, thanks to coronavirus, when they open up again, I will test out that car and have a look at it and make a video on that vehicle. Now, the Yuan Plus, how big is it? Well, it's classified as a medium-sized SUV. It's 4.5 meters long. And although technically we don't know a price, I think I do know a price, but technically we don't. Although Nextport haven't released a price, the CEO, Todd, says that the vehicle will set a whole new standard for what you get for the money. So, what does that mean? Well, this vehicle costs in China between 130,000 yen and 160,000 yen. Base model 130,000, the highest spec model 160,000. What does that translate to? Well, the direct translation of prices from yen to Australian dollars means that the base model is 27,700 Australian dollars and the top spec model is 34,000 Australian dollars. Now, obviously, there's going to be an increase on those prices. BYD in China have to convert the car to right-hand drive, and they have to ship them to Australia. So there's going to be a small increase on those prices. But if we look at the price that BYD is selling their commercial vehicle, the T3 and the E3 here in Australia, you can see that the prices are not far off the prices that those vehicles cost in China. They're around about 15% difference. So what does that extrapolate to? Well, it looks as though, based on what they've done so far, that the base model will cost 35,000 Australian dollars. And this has been confirmed by evcentral.com.au as well, not just my speculation. They're also saying the same thing. Check them out, evcentral.com.au. I'll put a link in the description. 35,000 for the base model, and it appears as though the higher spec model will cost around 40,000 Australian dollars. This will be, without question, the best value vehicle in the Australian market in this range, in the SUV range. And I think without a doubt, this doesn't just include electric vehicles. This is just the best value crossover vehicle on the market, full stop. So what do we know about these two variants, the base model and the high spec model? Well, the base model comes with a 50 kilowatt hour BYD Blade battery, and the high spec model comes with a 60 kilowatt hour Blade battery. This means it'll have 430 kilometers of range for the base model and 510 kilometers of range for the higher spec model. The electric motor is the same in both. They both have a single motor generating 150 kilowatt of power and 310 newton meters of torque, which is definitely more than enough for this size of vehicle. Remember, electric vehicles have instant power, so all that power and torque is available immediately from 0 RPM. Whereas in a petrol or diesel car, you've really got to rev the car out to achieve peak power. So what else do we know? Okay, the length, 4.5 meters, width, 1.9 meters, and height of 1.6 meters. That's for both specifications. Wheelbase is 2.7 meters. Curb weight is 1,615 kilos for the base model and 1,690 kilos for the higher spec model. It's actually this size of car with the battery packs, they're normally heavier. So it's actually quite light because it's lighter than it's actually lighter than quite a number of ICE vehicles, including cars like the Volvo XC60, which is a similar size. It's lighter than BMW's X3, which is also a similar size. However, remember the XC60, Volvo XC60 and the BMW X3, although they're a similar size on the outside, they are without a doubt smaller on the inside. And that's because ICE vehicle packaging requires them to have a transmission tunnel and other things that mean that the interior space is smaller. Obviously, both cars will come with lithium iron phosphate battery, which is BYD's Blade battery, which is extremely safe. It is the safest battery on the market. I don't think there's any argument about that. That is just a fact. Energy density. Energy density for the batteries is around about 140 to 150 watts per kilo. And top speed is 160 kilometers an hour. Now, there's going to be a couple of small changes to the car when it comes here to Australia and potentially New Zealand. Those include calling it a different name, a Yuan Plus, that is more of a Chinese name. So it appears as though they will actually change the name for our market. Another difference will be suspension upgrades and CCS2 charging. So Luke Todd, the CEO, says there'll be two variants. One will be the entry level without all premium features to enable a price point people will be amazed at, and a fully appointed model which will comfortably be the best EV on the market for the price, he said. So that base model, I believe that will be the $35,000 model, or about $26,000 US. Now, BYD has quite a lot of different EVs set to hit the local market. Well, not just the local Australian market, but the worldwide market, including Europe, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. The United States, not within the next couple of years, I don't think, unfortunately. But some of the features they are said to include are 800 volt architectures and 350 kilowatt ultra fast charging. These are exciting specs. If their vehicles have those specifications, that is huge. Now, the CEO says there's a number of reasons that BYD will transform drivers' expectations. He says, first and foremost, BYD is at its heart a battery company. Very true. BYD are the fourth largest battery company in the world. He says they're so far ahead, they've even got Tesla wanting to buy batteries off them, and of course, Hyundai, Toyota, and who knows who else. Potentially a number of other manufacturers as well. Now, the Driven.io says that in 2020, BYD unveiled its Blade battery, which it said internal testing proved it far safer than conventional lithium iron phosphate batteries, which can experience thermal runaway if not effectively managed. And it's true. BYD ran a bunch of crazy tests on this battery. They drove over it. They heated it to massive temperatures. They pierced it with a nail. They did all these things to the battery, and it withstood all the different tests that they applied to it. And they did these on video, so you can actually see them do these tests. Now, the Blade battery also reportedly tackles another aspect that is holding EVs back. And this is a big aspect. This really matters. That is price. The price of the batteries directly affects the price of the car. And obviously, when Tesla first started in 2010, the reason their cars were just completely unaffordable was because at that time, battery costs were just way too high. Now, battery costs have come down massively over the last decade, but for many people, still not enough. However, in the case of BYD, something significant has changed very recently. Recently, analysts said that battery making costs need to go below $100 per kilowatt hour to make EVs comparable to combustion vehicles on purchase price. And as I've reported it in several videos recently, the first company that we know of that has done that is BYD. It was originally reported that BYD would achieve this it was originally reported that the car industry worldwide, battery manufacturers worldwide, would achieve this feat in 2023. But that happened much faster than people predicted, as recently BYD admitted to the fact they've reduced the cost per kilowatt hour of their batteries to $96 per kilowatt hour. Now, it's been reported that that's now down to $92.50 per kilowatt hour. So that is the reason why in China and soon globally, BYD's EVs are directly comparable in price to ICE vehicles. And of course, it's one of the reasons that EV Direct is able to introduce EVs to Australia and New Zealand at very low prices, said the CEO. He said it's one of the key drivers, certainly. And he added that the Blade battery will also challenge other players on energy density and the flexibility of its design, which allows better engineering capabilities. Designers can build more flexibility without chunky, heavy batteries. BYD, the Blade battery, is extremely thin. So obviously what this means is compromises in terms of having a big battery pack in the floor don't really matter so much because the battery is so thin that it barely affects the actual packaging. Now, obviously energy density of lithium iron phosphate batteries, the Blade battery is a lithium iron phosphate battery, are much, much lower than NCM chemistry batteries, which are what are widely used on the market, such as what are found in most Tesla vehicles. Lithium iron phosphate batteries have about half the energy density of an NCM battery, which is nickel, cobalt, manganese. But they do have a lot of other benefits, which includes they can be charged much longer, they can get more charge cycles out of the battery before you see degradation, they can take more heat, so the same sort of thermal management isn't needed in lithium iron phosphate packs, and they're much cheaper. I personally think that the entire industry will eventually switch to lithium iron phosphate batteries, and that includes the energy storage industry, particularly the energy storage industry, because of those benefits. So the CEO, Luke Todd, said this is total disruption. And he also said one important thing, which I 100% agree with. He said that this deal with Nextport is the world's first deal with BYD that allows drivers to avoid the 20 to 30% markup tacked on by dealers. So when you buy a BYD vehicle, you'll be buying it straight from the distributor. There won't be any middlemen involved. So basically you're cutting out that dealer markup. That is one of the reasons why you can get these cars so cheap. Now on the safety issue, Todd said that because Nextport has been able to work with BYD to ensure suitability for the Australian market, they have already designed these cars to meet 5-star ANCAP ratings. We just need to put it through the test, he says. And apparently its warranty will set new standards in the industry. We can't get exact numbers yet, but it will be compelling, especially in and around the battery side, which is the heart of the vehicle. Now, a lot of people have been commenting on BYD articles all over the internet saying, yeah, but are they safe? Are they safe? I mean, it's Chinese, rah, rah, rah. Well, they are safe. They have a lot of different driver assist features. In fact, more than many Toyotas on the market have right now. That is unquestionably a fact. Just look at some of the vehicles that Toyota sells. Many of them don't come with even standard safety features that much of the market does. That is true whether you like Toyota or not. You can't avoid that fact. Now, these new BYD vehicles not only have the world's safest battery in them, but they also will come with driver assist features that will make these cars safe and allow it to have that 5-star ANCAP rating. Now, on the driven.io, the most popular comment was from Sylvain. I'm going to share that with you because I think it's very interesting. Sylvain says, BYD and Nextport need to do an advertising blitz. No one except for an EV fan would have ever heard of BYD. Thus, not many would even consider buying one. I guess most Aussies can only name one EV maker. Shame, as the newer models are worth considering. Do you think this is true, guys and girls? Do you think this is true? I'm not so sure. Now, as you know, I've probably made about 20 to 25 BYD videos, and I now have between 300 to 400,000 views on those videos. That, of course, is continually increasing, and that number will easily hit 1 million by the end of this year. Is it true that people don't know about BYD? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But maybe you could help this out by sharing some of these videos about BYD with your friends. Tell them about BYD. Send them to the channel. And even if they don't like EVs, send them to the channel. And if they say things on the channel that I hate EVs, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But if we educate people that they can now buy an EV, or very soon they can buy an EV, that is on cost parity with ICE, then more and more people will start buying EVs and we can transition to renewable energy, to having more clean air quicker. Thanks for watching the videos. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.